Hi, Anna. I'm Allan Pluger. I'm going to interview you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
I'll
you.
just leave this.
Yeah. Go ahead. You absolutely killed. Like, first of all, like, that's my favorite classical music piece ever.
Yeah, so
I didn't think I was going to live long enough to see it live. Now I haven't. Like, you made me cry thrice. 3 times. Who do we have here right now?
I'm Anna Fedorova from Ukraine and just performed the second Rachmaninoff piano concerto with a fantastic orchestra Sinfónica Nacional de México.
Anna, it's such a pleasure to meet you. Such a pleasure.
Very nice to meet you.
So, first of all, I saw you. The first time I ever saw you was in YouTube. Like, it was almost before the pandemic, was like listening. I went to hear this concert again, right? So I looked up. First video in the platform is like Anna Fedorova. Oh, okay, this seems okay. And let's click on it. And I was like, oh my God. And then, on TikTok, I see like an ad for this concert. Rachmaninoff. Oh, very interesting. Anna Fedorova is going to be here. And I was like, this is the best pianist that can possibly play Rachmaninoff right now, and we have it here in Mexico with us.
Thank you, that's very sweet of you to say that.
No, really, I'm your biggest fan. Well, probably there are bigger fans, but whatever. So I wanted to ask you, you're very recognized for being very expressive, but not just, what I love about you is that you don't only like have a very expressive pianistic technique, it's not only the sound that you produce, you like dance in the piano, you make this, when you make staccatos, you like brush your hair or whatever, and it's really cool. Like, did you come up with that, or were some teachers involved or something?
No, I mean, I think whatever movements I'm making is coming just from emotions and from the music itself. And maybe when I want to try to even amplify certain either character or the articulation or energy, then of course my hair starts flying as well. And just from the amount of energy I kind of give into the piano, then it goes back and throws me away, something like that, But I definitely don't plan the movements, because then it would be more of kind of show.
Yeah, natural, like robotic, maybe.
Yeah, but for me, whatever, I think in general, music has to be really sincere, and music has to be expressive, but where it has to be expressive. There are some pieces or certain parts also, even in Rachmaninoff concerto, where you have to be very still and very, like, just create the atmosphere and not actually to be moving or going somewhere too much. So it all depends on what the story is about, the musical story. And basically that's what I'm trying always to achieve when I perform, to tell the story with the notes, or paint a picture, or create an atmosphere, or just express certain feelings depending on the music.
Yeah, and it's like missing so much this like emphasis on being expressive, especially I think in classical music, because in academy of classical music, a lot of teachers tend to be very strict, very gray, and it has to be played like this. But when you're on the stage, like, the only thing that matters is that you really enjoy playing it, and you just do whatever you want,
Yes, well, of course, I mean, everything you have to learn about stylistics, about things you should or shouldn't do, it's all really important to know.
Yes.
But then you have to know the rules in order to break them.
Exactly, yeah, for sure, yeah.
But then also where it is appropriate, and in what kind of way it is appropriate. But in general, when you go on stage, you forget about all of the kind of things which you program or think about or learn, or when you go on stage, it's basically all about feeling and expressing and just diving into the music and living through the music.
That's amazing. Now, I wanted to ask you about some health-related topics. A lot of pianists, well, they don't consider it because they don't know that there can be real harm, real danger in, you know, like, at the end of the day, playing piano is like very athletic. You know, it's an exercise that you do with your body, and you have to really take care of what you're doing with your body and of how you put your hands, you know, because you can get tendonitis, you can cramp up in the middle of a concert, you know, a lot of things can happen. So how do you deal with this stuff? Do you actually follow like some method or don't, or you're just careful? How do you deal with this?
Well, first of all, I think the most important thing is to take care of the way how you practice and in general how you play it. Because if your hands are tense or you tend to get kind of stiff when you play, that's the shortest way of getting tendonitis. Yeah. Because I mean, I used to have this problem also when I was a kid, and even now sometimes I do feel that, I somehow getting stiff, but then I immediately remind myself that no, I need to relax. And if you play in the right way, then I would think that it's less likely maybe to get tendonitis if your hand doesn't get tired. But when you practice, if you feel that your hand get tired, that's the first sign you should either start playing slower or take a break and these kind of things. And otherwise, I did have a few times some problems with
Really?
With tendons. I mean, it wasn't really long-term tendonitis, but just a little bit of either overworked, or once I actually got it because of riding on electric bike in the mountains, and I was all the time was having a lot of tension on my wrists because I was going up and down and on the bumps and so on, and then I was having pain for quite a long time. And I did some physiotherapy then, and also tried to take it a little bit easier in terms of heavy practicing, although I still kept playing concerts and everything, and it kind of went away by itself. But but of course this is something you have to be really aware of, and to make some exercises, which I don't really do, which I should, but but there are certain also exercises which physiotherapists actually can show as well, and was showing me like how to strengthen your wrists or fingers depending like where you would like to build up the strength. And so on.
Now, how do you prepare like for a concert memory-wise? Like, because I understand the time that you have to prepare a piece can vary a lot, you know? So maybe you have like a month or 2 months or 6 months or 2 weeks, you know? So what do you do when the time is so short and you have to learn this huge piece? I don't know if that's ever happened to you, but if it has,
times.
What do you do in those cases?
Well, that's actually a really difficult question to explain the whole process. But I do actually often have to learn certain things in a short amount of time. And in a way, when you just learn the piece freshly, then it's also the freshest in the memory, and you maybe don't have as well built up physiology for the piece, but actually in the memory it's very fresh when you just learn the piece. So actually for me it's maybe more dangerous to play the pieces which I played a long time ago, or played in general, play often and from time to time, but then I don't have too much time to fully refresh it, not only in my fingers but also in the memory. And in general, memory, it's a complicated term, because it's not that you just memorize the notes, it's the whole complicated combination of hearing, of visual, of also memory, but also physical, and it's all like really complicated. But in general, what helps me is also to practice mentally, and basically when I'm traveling or when I'm on the plane to play the piece in my head and visualize it as if I'm at the piano inside my head, and that somehow gives me a double layer of confidence of knowing in really details.
Yeah, it's so strange
piece.
because I've used that as well. That technique. That's a technique that a lot of like basketball players, for example, use, and it's very weird because it often works better than actually practicing on the physical piano. You know, I've like exactly like traveling on a car, on the bus, whatever, and you visualize like you actually like feel the keys on your fingers and the shapes of the keyboard of the song, you know, and then you return to the piano and suddenly like you play it twice and it's already done. It's perfect. It's so weird. That's so cool that you do that.
Yes, yeah, well, it definitely helps, and especially when you have limited amount of actually spending time with the piano. And I do have this problem because I travel a lot, and sometimes the concert schedule is really tight, and then there is just literally physically not enough time to practice it on real piano.
Right.
So
wow.
I have
That's
to
so
compensate.
Yeah. So now I want to ask you, like, you're Ukrainian, right? And you were one of the first pianists musicians on classical music who helped war victims back in Ukraine. What do you think about how art can help in these situations?
Yes, well, in general, when the war started, somehow, well, the first maybe couple of days I was just paralyzed and in shock, but then I had this really strong feeling to do something, whatever is possible from my side, and then I realized that actually a lot is possible. And we organized together with other few musicians in the Netherlands this big benefit concerts in the Concertgebouw, also in the Hagen Amar concert hall, and then it was like a snowball. There were many, many more. And it was amazing, and not just because we raised a lot of money through these concerts and gave it for humanitarian aid for Ukraine, but also just the feeling and the feeling of unity, the energy of all the people which came. It really gives a lot of power and a lot of hope, and I hope that also for those people it was the same kind of feeling in the hall as what we were feeling on stage. And then, of course, also when there are Ukrainian people in the hall, and I see that, like, how emotional they are and how music can somehow sometimes give escape, sometimes give hope, sometimes just let be sad and let the sadness out. But it's really strong emotional support, and also I know, for example, when we were playing those concerts and they were broadcasted live, and some of the people I know were in Ukraine and they were sitting in the basement while being bombed and were watching these concerts and crying and like you know, I don't know what it was doing to them, but for sure it was doing a lot to them. And yeah, and also you know, many Ukrainian people were coming, of course, from Ukraine, fleeing from Ukraine, and my parents I managed to get out a week before the war started.
Thank God.
But then lots of their students, they are both piano professors, and lots of their students were also living in Ukraine and coming to the Netherlands to follow them, because we were telling them, come, we can help, and also then they can continue practicing piano with them and so on. And we could feel that, I mean, we could help not just to find them a place to live and practice, but also we immediately could offer them a possibility to perform, and with the music somehow it was supporting them in this kind of really crazy, terrible situation when they leave their home, they don't know what is going to happen to them. Like, many families were broken because fathers had to stay, and then the mother and the kid were leaving and so on. And music was really helping them also psychologically to get out of a really dark place. And also in 22 we opened the academy in The Hague, which is called David Bündner Music Academy.
Yes, you made that academy, right?
Yes,
With your...
and the idea for the academy was long before the war, and we of course didn't know what will happen, but it opened, the opening basically was around the same time. And because so many Ukrainian students were around in the Netherlands, they of course immediately were admitted to the academy, and we were raising and still raising constantly scholarship fund for them and for other also international students, but who are not able to pay basically the amount which education costs. To support them and to allow them to have as many lessons as they need, and depending on their motivation and their goals, and basically like if they're preparing for competitions and concerts, then of course they need more lessons and so on. But we're trying to really support everyone who needs it, and it feels actually, it's crazy life and it's really busy, but it feels really great because we can see sometimes that we can help the destinies and to shape some lives, and in a good way, of course.
Yeah, and
So.
there are still parents who, you know, you tell them, I want to be a musician. Oh, no, that's useless. This is one of the uses, the great uses of actually making art. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Thanks.
So finally, I want to ask you, like, is there a specific piece? You talk about when you're given a piece, you like fall in love with it as you practice it, and you kind of not have a particular taste, right, for the songs. But what's a song that when you are like, I don't know, maybe like anxious or stressed, you know, in a situation where you need to reconnect with yourself, what's some of the pieces that you play to do that?
Well, I think Rachmaninoff, and maybe this concerto in particular is one of them for sure. And also Chopin and some of his music. I think it's also having this kind of healing qualities for me as well. And that's actually what I was going through when the war started, and the first piece I was playing and performing at that time was Chopin's second piano concerto, and particularly second movement. This is something like to...
It's amazing.
Yes, just to die for. Yes, I guess Chopin and Rachmaninoff in this kind of case are my the composers and music that I kind of would reach for. But otherwise, you were absolutely right that I definitely don't want just to like be stuck, and also in my image that I am only playing Rachmaninoff, Chopin, and romantic music, because I absolutely enjoy and like performing all the other styles as well. And now I just recorded the new CD, which will come out in the autumn, which is jazz inspired, and it has...
Oh my, no way, seriously?
Yes, it has Gershwin Rhapsody in Blue, Ravel Concerto in G major, and lots of small pieces, and even some of French chanson arrangements, which I made myself, one of them, and now I'm actually busy with making some other arrangements also for chamber music, which becomes something very interesting, because in general I like French chanson very much, but in these arrangements it becomes a mix of kind of jazzy, classical
the perfect
style.
mixture of classical and jazz.
Something
Gershwin,
different, what I don't think I heard yet in terms of French chanson.
Yeah, I never pictured you, although I should have, because it's romantic, like Rachmaninoff has a lot of jazz, but I never quite pictured you playing Gershwin. That's amazing.
Well, that's actually my first time. I haven't until a few months ago.
Wow.
But I really enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun.
Autumn, it comes out.
Yeah.
Okay. Anna Fedorova is going to play Gershwin in her new CD. Ravel. some bonus piano pieces, and French chansons for which Anna made an arrangement herself. All of it with a mixture of classical and jazz that has never been heard before. Oh my God. And it's amazing. It's amazing. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Great pleasure.